Hi everybody, we've got the top of the hour here, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us today for this webinar to learn about the GeoJot Plus field data collection system, which is now running on Windows Mobile in addition to Android and Apple devices. My name is Stephanie Giard and I'm the Marketing Director here at Geospatial Experts. I'll be today's moderator. In the next 30 minutes you can expect to hear some background information on Geospatial Experts, discussion of how photo mapping can solve business problems and help exploit business opportunities. You'll also see an overview of the GeoJot Plus product functionality. The most exciting part by far, a live demonstration of the GeoJot Plus field data collection system, including the app running on a Trimble handheld GPS. And then we'll wrap it all up with question and answer session. I have a few quick housekeeping issues to cover before we get started. Everybody should have a vertical toolbar in the upper right-hand corner of their screen. If it's minimized, you'll just see a red arrow, and you want to click on that red arrow to maximize and be able to see the available tools. There's a Q&A section in that toolbar where you can type in questions, and please feel free to type in questions at any time during the presentation. As I said earlier, those questions are going to be fed into the queue and then answered during the Q&A session. We have over 600 people who registered for today's event, coming from 40 different countries. We know we're going to get a lot of questions. If we can't get to all of the questions, we'll be sure to follow up with you after the webinar. We'll also send attendees a link to a Q&A transcript as well as a link to the recorded webinar later this week, early next week. One last thing with that is you can either use the question and answer or the chat tools if you're having any technical difficulties during the webinar. Thank you again for joining us today, and now I will introduce you to our other speakers. We have John Clark, Director of Business Development at Geospatial Experts, Tyler McGarity, Technical Support Manager at Geospatial Experts, and during the question and answer session we'll also have Rick Bobbitt, our CEO. Not presenting, but present at the webinar are all of our GeoJot Plus value-added resellers that are scattered across the globe. Thank you very much for attending, and now I will pass things over to John Clark.
Thanks, Stephanie. Again, I'm John Clark. I'm Director of Business Development at Geospatial Experts, and I'm going to run through an overview of the GeoJot Plus system to help you understand how GeoJot Plus is both powerful yet intuitive and easy to use. We'll take a high-level look at GeoJot Plus's components, the types of projects where it is the best tool for your job, and how the new Windows mobile app adds to your mobile team's flexibility and GPS accuracy. As Stephanie mentioned, we're recording the webinar, and I'll be sending a link to the recording along with my contact information to all webinar attendees. So please share it with any of your colleagues that may have a mobile data collection project but were not able to attend this live presentation. Also, please contact me if you want to discuss your field data collection, mapping, and reporting projects or needs, or if you would like to receive a free evaluation of the GeoJot Plus system, or if you have any questions. GeoJot Plus Experts is the world leader in photo mapping software for business. 14 years ago, in 2001, Geospatial Experts introduced PhotoLink Pro, which pioneered photo-based data collection and mapping. GPS PhotoLink Pro's power and functionality has been incorporated into GeoJot Plus. In 2011, we introduced the GeoJot app for Apple and Android, and the app has been field proven by thousands of users. Then in 2012, Geospatial Experts introduced the integrated GeoJot Plus system with significant new app, cloud, new desktop processing, and new report writing and new mapping capabilities. And today we're here to introduce the GeoJot Plus app for Windows Mobile. With this introduction, your mobile teams now can run GeoJot Plus on all the leading platforms used for field data collection. Geospatial Experts photo mapping software applications are used by businesses and governments worldwide. Users of our software include all federal agencies, all the states, a large number of cities and regional governments, schools, universities, and much of the Fortune 1000. Our solutions are sold and supported by geospatial experts and by our reseller and solution partners located throughout the United States and the rest of the world. Let's quickly review what GeoJot Plus is. GeoJot Plus is both, one, a complete standalone field data collection, mapping, and reporting system, and two, a front end for enterprise systems, relational database systems, and mapping database systems. So at the top left we see the GeoJot Plus app, which is used by field mobile workers to collect photo, data, and possibly laser measurements if they're using the laser rangefinder instruments, and to automatically and in real time transmit that information through the cloud to the GeoJot Plus Core application running on the desktop. The GeoJot Plus Core application is used to create data collection forms, edit data and photos for quality consistency, to move map points for increased accuracy, and then create reports and output in the formats used by the leading mapping and database systems. The administrator's dashboard on the upper right is an important way we've optimized GeoJot Plus for teams of mobile workers. This web-based tool enables team managers to move and reassign GeoJot Plus licenses as needed among the members of their mobile team. So for projects that require only a spreadsheet, an MS Word, PDF, or HTML web report, the GeoJot Plus system provides all you need. These are examples of reports created by GeoJot Plus's built-in report writer. The GeoJot Plus system can serve as a capable front end for GeoJot Plus, or for enterprise systems, I should say. As a front end, GeoJot Plus provides for data collection, attribute and photo editing, and data QA/QC prior to the information being moved to mapping and enterprise systems. GeoJot Plus Core creates files ready for use by back-end mapping systems. So an example is geodatabase and shapefiles are created so users don't need to go through 2 or 3 steps to import field data and photos into an ArcGIS system. Geospatial experts or your GeoJot Plus reseller can assist you with the integration and workflows for transferring collected data into your SQL Server, Oracle, Intergraph, AutoCAD, Maximo, Small World, or other system. And if you want to discuss the customization of GeoJot Plus functionality, please contact me, John Clark, to talk about your project and system requirements. For example, do you need to transfer field data using a company proprietary cloud, or do you need to transfer field data from the GeoJot Plus app directly into your back-end system, maybe without processing it through GeoJot Plus Core? Now let's look at field data collection, data attributes, and the attribute values we want to collect. So here we have, number one, we have a photo of the sign, loading zone in this case, that we've collected in the field, and a column of attributes and their assigned attribute values. So in this case we have sign type as the attribute, loading is its value, condition is the attribute, faded is its value, action required, and the attribute value is replaced. We'll notice that as far as the condition faded, that's been selected from the pick list that we've created using the GeoJot Plus forms editor. We could have also selected other values such as broken pole or bent. Those project-specific data collection forms are simple to create using the GeoJot Plus forms editor. This is an example of a utilities company's after the storm incident report, which shows a photo of downed power poles. And again, we have a list of attributes and their assigned values. In this case, the incident type attribute has been assigned the attribute value of multiple poles down from the pick list, where we can see that we might have assigned another value such as transformer damage. Cities and counties also use GeoJot Plus to collect this type of disaster response information that they share with FEMA, and state and the federal government. GeoJot Plus has many uses with companies in the oil and gas industry. This is an example of the open trench photo and attribute documentation for a new pipe being buried below existing pipes. This is important information that needs to be captured before this trench is closed. An upcoming Oil and Gas Journal feature story describes how GeoJot Plus is transforming data collected in oil and gas. The company profiled in this article has traded in notebooks, their digital cameras, GPS receivers for GeoJot running on smartphones. During pipeline installation, inspectors are required to collect photographic and descriptive information for 4 critical pipeline features: pipe-to-pipe joints, branches, valves, and foreign line crossing, which is what we're seeing in this photo. Using GeoJot Plus has created a 10-fold time saving and has increased pipeline safety. GeoJot Plus data is more accurate, saving tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars during pipe installations and, of course, precious time in the event of a leak. There's an endless list of examples. We have some of them here that showcase the type of projects you can put GeoJot Plus immediately to work on. For example, pole inspection and attachment inventories use GeoJot Plus with laser rangefinder integration and GeoJot's ability to measure the distance between attachments back in the office on the screen. GeoJot Plus will fit the requirements of most of your field data collection projects, particularly where the collection of photos is important, the collection of descriptive information about the photos is important, and where the mapping of the photo points and data is important. GeoJot Plus is also a good software tool choice when you want to use a system that is easy to deploy for field workers to understand and can be readily deployed on a wide variety of data collection projects. For your field data collection projects, begin with the basics of photo, map points, and attributes. Then add some of these other GeoJot Plus points of functionality as required. Do you need points averaging? Will you use the GeoJot app's built-in barcode reader? Do you need the app to use measurement from a TruePulse or a Geo7X laser rangefinder? We have a lot of other capabilities that might fit your project. One of the reasons you selected GeoJot Plus for your project is that it runs on Android, Apple, and Windows mobile devices, and that you can readily move your GeoJot licenses between devices and among your team members. A great use of GeoJot Plus is to move or repurpose your legacy data collection devices. Your organization may have unused or underused equipment that now you can assign to projects where high equipment costs made the projects too expensive to consider. For example, your organization probably has problems or opportunities that are not top priorities for your GIS professional staff, but you could address these with map photos and data collected by your non-GIS employees. A big plus is that you can equip your non-GIS mobile teams now with a mix of smartphones, tablets, and devices that run Windows Mobile. While GeoJot Plus is easy to learn and deploy, we have plenty of training and support resources. Also, both geospatial experts and our resellers can provide custom training and support. Please contact me, John Clark, or your GeoJot Plus reseller to learn more about the capabilities of our integrated system and how they might be applied to help solve your business problem or help you develop a new lucrative business opportunity. My contact information. And now Tyler will demonstrate the GeoJot Plus system.
All right. My name is Tyler McGarity. I'm the Technical Support Manager here at Geospatial Experts. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a little demonstration of the GeoJot system running on a Windows mobile device. Here we have it running on a Trimble device. We also run on iOS and Android devices, and we've done that for a while, but the Windows 7 is the latest, greatest addition to the GeoJot family, and so I'm going to show you here. Pretty simple. I'm going to hit Start, go to the GeoJot icon, go ahead and launch the program. Take it just a second to load here. And you're going to see the screen that you're used to if you've used GeoJot in the past. You have your camera here, attribute lists. So if I'm a field worker, all I have to do is turn it on. I'm going to pick a list that I'm using. I'm going to go into the camera. It shows me some GPS information there. I'm going to go ahead and say, take a picture. And then I'm going to snap the photo of what I need to collect out in the field. Take just a second while it saves that photo. And then it's going to advance us on to the attribute list, where you can pick from drop-down menu what fields are assigned with that. So, for example, in that case, we have a loading zone sign, and we're going to say, that we can put in barcode information there if it's associated with it. What's the action required on that sign? And so on and so forth. As soon as you're done entering that information, you say OK, that picture is being uploaded to the cloud, and your field personnel or yourself are ready to move on and take a picture of your next asset. Now, I showed you us grabbing that list from the attribute list area. I'm going to open up the GeoJot core. This is the other part of the GeoJot system. This is our desktop processing side of things, and this is where you're going to be able to do some things like create your lists. Here's the basic launch screen. Up on the top you'll see some different selections. We're going to look at the list editor. In the list editor here, very easy to start your list. You can say add, then you'll put in your first attribute. Say in this case we want it to be sign type. That is going to be a required attribute because it's a signed survey. We are not going to allow typing because these are going to be fixed fields. And then we can simply enter the information that we want the people in the field to be collecting. Another way to do this, if you already have lists built within Excel, it will take the import of CSV files. So if we hop over here and take a look at CSV files, I have a sign inventory one here. And if I say open it, you're going to see now we already have these fields filled out because it's been built in Excel previously, sign type, condition, position. Easy to distribute these lists. You can have the local device plugged in and copy the list into a folder within GeoJot. You can also email it to a field team member, and you can use Dropbox. And if the person in the field is using it as well, you can put it in a shared folder and grab it right down and be ready to go. So that gives you kind of an overview there. I'm going to go back to the app quickly here and show you a few things. On the app, when you go into the camera, there is a couple features that we've added here. You see on the camera screen you've got your latitude and longitude data, as well as the amount of satellites you're tracking and an estimated accuracy. One of the things we've added for the Windows mobile version is the point averaging feature. So if you click that, it'll start counting up the amount of points it's averaging. And if you're in a situation where you need to have a certain amount of average points before you take your photo, it's really easy to do from there. We also allow you from there to group photos. That'll allow you to take several photos that are all going to be have one attribute list with them. So if you need to take several photos around an asset, easy to do in the group photos section. And we also have a lock GPS feature, which allows you to lock the GPS signal where it is. That way you can walk up to an asset, lock the location, back up so that you get good perspective on it, and go ahead and snap your photo. Those are all features that we've added here. Now I'm going to slide over and show you our camera roll quickly. What we have here is the camera roll. You can see the small cloud with the check mark on the right side. That shows that these items have been uploaded to the cloud. You can see the attributes that were collected with an item. If you go into it, so you'll see some of this stuff that I collected on the previous sign. That way, if there are things that didn't get done out in the field, all you have to do is come in here and they can be edited before you actually send it up to the cloud, or to resend it in if the information has changed. That gives you an idea of the camera roll. Also from within the camera roll, when you're on those pictures, you can bring up a map to see the location of the picture where it was taken from an aerial view. That gives you a chance to QC that information before the picture is sent off there. Also over here on the in the settings department, I'm going to show you a couple things. First of all, the cloud setting. That's an important one. You can have the cloud turned on or off, and you can have auto send set to on or off. If you have people that do bring the device back in for the photo download, it supports that, or you can use the cloud feature. You can rename right from here. You can choose a file name prefix as well as an attribute field that you want to assign to the name. So that way, if you're taking several pictures and all your signs have unique identifiers, you can set that memo field to be the name, and it will rename the photos as they come in. We also can let you set the subfolder and the cloud path. The cloud path you can set a name for. The subfolder you can once again pick a memo field. We have clients that take tens of thousands of pictures out in the field, and for them it's very important that these photos come in and are organized in a certain manner, and you can do that right from the app by coming in here and changing those settings. All right. Also on here you'll see there's several other settings. We'll get into those perhaps a little bit later. What I want to show you next is using GeoJot Core. Now that you've captured the data out in the field, you have it come back into your GeoJot Core program. You can start out at the project manager here. This shows you the projects that you currently have working as well as the output created. This allows you to also save a project as a template. So if you have your project all set up exactly the way you want, the next time you bring in more photos for another piece of the project, you can simply have the template checked, load the template, load the photos, and then create the output without having to go back through and redo your settings. When you're inside the project, it's easy to follow along with the tabs over here on the left. The first tab you start out on is the Import Photos tab. Pretty easy to understand what that does. You can click the button and import photos that are already on the computer, or you can bring them in from the Dropbox folder. Next tab is going to be our Geotag tab. That allows you to take a track log or a concurrent a GPX file and tag data to photos that do not have any geotag data with them. So it allows you to incorporate other photos that were taken with other kinds of devices. From there we go to our Attribute Editor tab. Now this is the tab that allows us to do things like look at our photos over here at the left and see exactly where they lay out on the map over on the right side. So here you can see I have these photos. I can click on one of my signed photos. It'll highlight blue here and show me where exactly that photo lays out, give me a little preview of it. I'll also see all of the data associated with it in this central attribute editor pane. Now this is going to allow me to change any of this information, so if it gets back into the office and it turns out, well, you know, that's not the correct sign that it should be, I can come in here and do an extra level of QC. It also allows us, when you are over here, if you, oops, hold on just a sec there, let me zoom in a little bit. If you have a point and you know that it's not laid out in the right place, it's pretty easy for you to come over here and do allow edit. You can say, oh, well, that sign actually lays out across the street over here, and you can do some QC in the office, change your photo direction. Next tab I'll have to show you is the Photo Editor tab. This one is going to allow you to crop photos as well as add text information to photos. If you need to have a certain part of something highlighted, here I have an example here. With the Draw tool, simply circle what needs to be highlighted as part of your report. And from there, we'll move on to the Watermarking tab. The Watermarking tab allows you to change photo sizes for the watermarked output. It allows you to choose whether your watermarks are on the photo or outside of the photo. And you can easily remove or add what is being watermarked by undoing checkboxes on the top or adding checkboxes over on the side here. That way you can define exactly what you want watermarked on the photo for your output. And as far as output examples, I'm going to show you a couple of those before we go back into the output settings. Here you're going to see an example of a standard report. Now, our standard report is going to support you adding logos or backgrounds to it. It has an overview map that shows you where your points are. And then each page is going to be one photo, a couple of maps, and an attribute table of the attributes that were collected. There is also the condensed report. That allows you to see one photo, one map, and the attributes, 3 per page. And we also do a contact sheet, which allows you to have up to 8 photos per page for viewing, and one map that shows you an overall view. We support Google Earth output. Here you can see some of these photos output into Google Earth, and pretty easy to click on them, see the attribute values assigned to these different items. You can also see the cone of view, so it'll show you which direction that the picture was taken in. And if we take a little look here, a little closer, we can see, here we go. So here you get a chance to see the sign as it was taken. You have a link to the original photo, a link to the watermark photo, and a link to web page information, and it'll show you all the attribute data that you have collected. Similar to that is our output for shapefile. I have a shapefile in ARC here. This is the same sign layout. GeoJot has a toolbar piece built in to ArcGIS that installs when you install the software. It allows you to hover over these points and you can see the photo, and you can define what attribute data is listed underneath it. This tool will allow you to see if the photos are all grouped together, and you can click it and get a larger view of the photo as well. Now that we took a look at that, we're going to go back into GeoJot Core here, and I'm going to show you these 2 output tabs. First, you have your shared output settings. You can start out there with your photo information. That lets you choose the watermarked photo size, the original photo size. The title page, you saw that on the first report. This is where you can put in those logos as well as background or the names. The Static Maps tab allows you to choose which map service you're using for your overview map as well as the 2 background maps. It also has a Manage Custom Maps feature. From within there, if you use a REST service or MXD files, you can point it there and it will use those as your overview or background maps. The attribute table, similar to the watermarking feature, it allows you to hit the minus to remove things or check them over here to add them. These will be the attributes that are included in those attribute tables that you saw on the reports when they are output. The Rename Photos tab, very similar as well. You get to choose what you want there, so you can have a final chance to rename photos before they are output for your reports. Now, the report choices you have, I showed you standard and condensed and contact sheet. You can put those out in Word or Adobe PDF format. You can choose whether you want watermarked output photos or the original photos output. You have your shapefile output here. Once again, you can include raw values and choose whether it's watermarked or not. Our geodatabase output, you can output to a personal geodatabase or an enterprise geodatabase, creating a new one or using an existing geodatabase. And you can append tables within your existing geodatabase. All of the photos can be embedded in the geodatabase as a blob, so that allows you to keep your photos along with all of the information. Here are the Google Earth outputs, KML, KMZ. Now you have quite a few settings in here. You can choose what size photo comes with it, how the cone of view looks, what the icon is. We create a GPS exchange format, GPX output file, access database, MDB or XML output file, and then a text file output where you can have text or CSV and choose your delimiter, so you can output that data and then integrate it with your existing system. Now, when you have users out in the field, and you may wonder how you are taking care of those users and their licensing information, I'm going to show you here. If you go over to our website, Geospatial Experts, and go to our login screen here, this is the administrator's dashboard login. And when you come here, it has links to download GeoJot Core. It also shows you how many activations you have out in the field and what devices they are active on. So I can see here that I have users out in the field using Windows Mobile, Android, and Apple devices. I can see who's active and who's not active. And so if I have a contractor who has collected their data but didn't deactivate the device on their phone, and I need that activation opened up for another user, very easy to log in, go online, deactivate that item, and then that license is opened up and good to go. You're ready to move on and continue your data collection in the field. I think that gives us a good overview of GeoJot Core there. And I'm going to go and see if we have any questions out there to be answered yet. Let's take a look here. I do have a question. Pete asks, what happens if you're in a remote area with no connectivity? The answer to that would be GeoJot will still capture photos, data, and GPS locations without cell service or an internet connection or Wi-Fi. It uses the data coming from the internal GPS chip, so a lot of people we have, when they're out in field locations like that, still capture data, and then they just upload it to the cloud once they're within range of service, or they bring the device back and manually copy the photos from the device off. And somebody asked, can I show the point averaging again? Yeah, I can show the point averaging again here. If we hit the camera button, that's going to take us to the screen that gives us all of our GPS information. Then you're going to hit the average GPS button, and it'll count up and start averaging points. We've tested it, and it will keep on averaging till the cows come home. So depends on how many points you need averaged. Once it gets to that point, all you have to do is click your Take Picture button, and once you click Take Picture, it'll stop averaging points and bring you into the photo screen so you can capture the data and get yourself a pretty good average location there. Go ahead and go. All right, so somebody's asking me, John is asking, what is the accuracy of the GPS on Windows Mobile? Well, the accuracy of the GPS is going to depend on the GPS unit itself. GeoJot uses the highest real-time accuracy that the unit can provide to it in the field. So if you have a unit that's running Windows Mobile and provides sub-meter accuracy, that's what GeoJot will capture. GeoJot can also use post-processed data after the fact back in the office using a shapefile, but it generally is going to capture whatever data feed it is getting. So if we can pull up the slide quickly with the resellers on it from the PowerPoint presentation. Right there in the bottom left, 16. Yeah, let's take a look at that. So you can see we have a good deal of experience with Trimble GPS units, but these people are really the experts in Trimble equipment. So if high accuracy is something that's what you're going for, and you want to use a high accuracy unit, I would contact one of these people in order to talk to them about a Trimble handheld unit and running GeoJot on that unit.
So this is John. I see a couple questions here I'll take. One is, will this presentation be available? And I did mention we are recording it, and we'll make the link to the recording available to you. Another question is, do you have enterprise pricing? And yes, we do. Enterprise pricing includes a discount and per user cost for larger teams and enterprises. Usually includes the GeoJot Plus 360 implementation blueprint, which is some implementation support provided by us. So contact me if you want more details about the enterprise packages.
All right. I have a question. Can I show how a laser works with the Geo 6000? Well, I can show you how the laser works with the unit that I'm using here. I will bring up the picture of the Trimble unit here. You can see the screen I'm on is in the advanced settings. So you go to advanced, you go to laser connect, We'll say we're coming from a position of connecting to a laser. So it shows I'm connected. I'm using a Laser Technologies True Pulse 360B right here. And now that I'm connected to the unit, I can go and I can say, well, you know, I want to shoot some distances. GeoJot supports that. Let me come in here to the camera, and what I'm going to do is take a picture. Now, when I take this picture of the pole, it's going to save, bring me to that attribute list area. Now, from that attribute list, I still have signs up. So what you're going to want to do is menu, change list, and I do have a pole inventory list in here. So I can set that for OK. Yes. It'll switch me over to the pole list. Now, say I wanted to shoot the height of that pole. It's going to bring you to the screen where you say enter the true pulse reading. From the true pulse laser, I'm going to shoot the distance, and then I'm going to shoot the top of the pole. And then I'm going to shoot the bottom of the pole. And then it's going to give me a reading of the height. Now, obviously I'm shooting indoors, so that's not accurate to the picture of the pole, but it works the same way out in the field. It takes distance and the two angle measurements, and then will give you the height overall. So I say OK, and that height that it collected is populated directly into the field within GeoJot, and I'm ready to move on to collecting my next piece of information. We can also measure attachments back in the office using the photo measurement tool within Core. Once you have an accurate measurement, you can calibrate our photo measurement tool and then use the tool to measure the distance between attachments on the pole, so all of that information can be entered back in the office instead of out in the field.
Hey, Tyler, I see another question. While you have the app demo up, Brian is asking, can you set up the photo and show us how to use the rename parameters at the GeoJot level?
Sure.
Those are pretty powerful dynamic parameters.
You mean on Core?
No, on the app.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so here in the settings under Cloud, you will see your ability to rename things. So in this case, I have a file name prefix. I want to set that to something else. Let's say I'm doing, let's do a pole survey. And once I have that in, all of the photos are going to have that as a prefix. And then I want to uniquely identify them, so I'm going to pick a pole ID key to be my memo field. So that way, each pole has a unique ID field, ID key, and each pole will have a unique file name. Now, under the paths, I may want to rename my overall path to pole survey or the area of the project that I am taking the pole survey in. And then in my subfolder, I can divide them up. So if I want to know that all the poles owned by a certain company will be grouped together because that's the kind of information I need for my output, or that all poles of a certain condition are grouped together, very easy to choose that attribute field from this list, and then every photo taken that meets that condition, say the condition of poor, will all end up in a poor folder. Good will all end up in a good folder. And it's very easy to keep your information sorted that's being collected out in the field.
Okay, one question we're getting is, this is Rick Bobbitt again, or first. Will GeoJot run on Windows 8 Surface Pro tablets or like an H2 Toughbook? And right now, GeoJot runs on Android devices, Apple devices, tablets and smartphones, and now Windows 6.x devices. So it does not run on Windows 8 right now, but those Windows 6.x devices, someone's asking about those, that'll run on 6.1 and above. So it'll run on fairly older Trimble equipment and other manufacturers as long as it has Windows Mobile 6.1 or above on it.
Okay, I see another question there. Jeremy'd like to know, how is the photo linked to the data? Well, GeoJot's optimized for photo management, and it's a photo-centric data collection method. All of the data you collect in the field is written to the EXIF header on each photo. So that information stays with the photo for the life of the photo. It's not two separate files. It's all entailed in that JPEG image that you upload to the cloud or download to your local computer. And then, of course, you can also organize and rename files based on static and dynamic parameters, which we talked about. But the data that you're concerned about is linked to the photo via the EXIF. So all of that information is written right into the photo header.
And next question, a simple question, is on our settings page, can we change units? And the answer is yes. We can have units of meters and feet for your distances, and for your positions you can have decimal degrees, minutes, seconds, and so on. So we can do that.
One question is, how much is the app versus core? Just wanted to make sure you understand. Every GeoJot Plus licenses includes the app, GeoJot Plus core, the administrator's dashboard, and cloud transfer. So they're all included in the price of a license.
Okay. I see a question from Dave Rios asking, does GeoJot display the accuracy anywhere? And the answer is, yeah, if you look on here on the screen, the bottom setting right above the laser setting here on the device, will show you what the accuracy is, the accuracy estimate is based on what the accuracy numbers that the device is feeding it. Now, we're inside a building and fairly centralized, so obviously it's saying 9.7 to 7.5 meters. So the accuracy is going to be much better when you're out in a optimal environment. Just like with any GPS device, optimal environment equals the best accuracy. But GeoJot does display the accuracy there, so you do have an idea of the accuracy you're getting before you capture that photo.
Hey Tyler, another question about accuracy is, to get better accuracy, can you use Bluetooth with an external antenna?
Yeah, definitely. Same way that I connected that laser device, you can connect an external GPS device to the GeoJot system. Here within Windows Mobile, if you have an antenna or an external GPS device connected, if you'll see on this screen in settings, the GPS is set to internal right now, but you can click that and you can change the GPS port. You can change your required accuracy level on the GPS, so you can set a required accuracy if you don't want photos to be able to be taken unless that is achieved. You set it right in here. And you can change the GPS port to another port on the device to take in other GPS data. We also support the Bluetooth connection for higher accuracy GPS units on the Android devices and for certain units on the iOS devices.
And another question about accuracy, someone's asking about post-processing the Trimble data, and could we possibly use that? Right now we use the live feed from the Trimble units in GeoJot running on the app, on the device, but it is possible to collect that post-processing data, run it through Pathfinder Office, and then use the geotag function in our Windows desktop core software to basically re-geotag the photos with the high accuracy that you can get from the XH data. So the data you take out in the field would be the live accuracy GPS, but you could then re-tag them with the higher accuracy XH data very easily back in the office.
Another question is, can you backtrack to street addresses from latitude and longitude? And right now we don't do that, but this reminds me that we do have I call it a wish list of functionality and capabilities that we may in the future add to the product. So if you do have any needs that would particularly fit your organization or project, please contact me again, John Clark, and let's talk about it if you see a capability that we don't currently have in the product.
Okay, and another question is about the laser rangefinder, asking if it be used to offset the GPS coordinates, and the answer is yes. So with the GPS screen on, you can shoot a distance and bearing to an object, and that gets stored in the photo, and then GeoJot will calculate the offset location. So that's very useful if you can't get at the object you're trying to take a picture of to get its position. You can be across the street or across a field, and as long as you can shoot it with the laser rangefinder, then we will actually capture the offset location, not the location where you're standing at when you took a photo.
Following up my last answer, besides Dropbox, what other cloud providers are compatible with your product? Right now, Dropbox is the one we support. When you go into the settings, you'll see that we are thinking in the future of supporting other transfer methods. So I'll contact you and we will talk about what other clouds you might have need for.
Stuart has a question about the photos. Can they be saved to the handheld unit instead of the cloud? Yes, they can. On the handheld unit, you can choose the path under camera that you are saving, where the camera folder is, and you can save all of your photos on the local device and then download them in the office. We have several clients that aren't in a position where they have data connection out in the field, and they collect their data and store it on the local devices until getting back into a place where they can copy it to the computer.
So if we can't answer your questions again, we will answer them, but they might not just be live. We'll get back to you. We'll have John or someone will answer your questions for you. So please keep your questions coming. We're about done with the webinar now.
Yeah, why don't we just take one more question, Rick, because we decided before this got started we do about 15 minutes of questions, and we have just surpassed that. So how about one more question, and then we'll wrap it up, and we will create a transcript of all this and get all these questions documented and get that up on our website and send everybody a link after the webinar is over.
All right. How about this question from James saying, does GeoJot Plus work with ArcGIS Basic?
Right, and the answer to that is yes. It'll GeoJot Core will produce output and work with all the versions of ArcGIS from the basic, standard to advanced, and so all the output and that kind of thing will work. If you want to write directly to a geodatabase, you have to have the geodatabase license and things like that, but it works with all versions of ArcGIS.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for attending. We probably have another 50 or so questions that we didn't get to answer, but we will get those answered after the webinar is complete.